Hi, I'm Mary Kopczynski, the CEO of Regalytics, back at home with a bum knee. So I guess it's good I'm not still commuting in and continuing to broadcast from my 3-year-old's bedroom. Welcome to this week's regulatory roundup. There were a whopping 12,934 alerts this week, a Regalytics record, but honestly, it's just 9,000 plus CFPB complaints. And wow, so much fun stuff this week. I don't even know where to begin, but I will begin with this Thursday at noon Eastern. I am going to be hosting the first Regalytics Deep Dive series. You could sign up using the link in the comments, and tomorrow I'm going to walk through the latest in cyber regs going on right now. And look, kind of like I've been warning you about Russia, it doesn't matter if you're cleaning swimming pools or baking a cake. Cyber laws are starting to apply to everyone everywhere. So join me for a mere 30 minutes and I will walk you through in a very fun way, I promise, the latest in cyber, and then you can ask me questions. The regulator of the week is the FCA out of the United Kingdom. Similar to the SEC did last year, the UK financial regulator has finalized rules requiring listed companies to disclose information against targets on the representation of women and ethnic minorities on their boards and executive management. This will make it easier for investors to see the diversity of their senior leadership teams. The topic of the week is Earth Day. It was Earth Day last Friday, and there were 82 alerts from over 50 regulators, from the federal government to international agencies to some of our own states. Notable of these was the U.S. pledge of $600 million over the next 4 years to support the 8th replenishment of the Global Environmental Facility. Also, the Bank of England published the biennial exploratory scenario results, which essentially means soon we're going to be able to see what they found out in terms of financial risks posed by climate change for the largest UK banks and insurers. Lots of states and governors made big announcements, and Wisconsin gets the award for announcing its first ever clean energy plan. Also, big movements this week from our usual suspects. FINRA made a warning about selling mutual funds, so if any of you are in that business, be prepared for exams on those sales practices. FINRA and the SEC also had an interesting alert from Breen Capital Management and the Bond Dealers of America, who are basically suing the regulators to try to stop them from moving the changes to FINRA 4210 to be live, because of its impact on mid-size and small players in that market. I mean, 4210 changes have been going on for almost a decade, so what's another appeal? The SEC is hosting a big event on elder abuse called the Older Investor Roundtable, and then another one where ICE Clearing is trying to get a rule change through the SEC having to do with credit default swaps in Russia. This one even makes my head spin, so I had to reach out to a few experts to better understand what's going on here. Wink, wink, you know who you are, and thank you. Moving on to the Fine Tracker, what a delight this week. I cannot wait for the made-for-TV movies that are going to be coming out from these. So we're going to go from least to the most crazy. Number 1. The New York AG busted a former Vikings player for defrauding the Alliance of American Football by claiming his unregistered crypto company assets were actually his own personal assets. 2. Two Florida guys who ran a bogus online crowdfunding campaign called We Build the Wall got nailed for defrauding New Yorkers so far, but these guys raised $25 million to build the wall. And while claiming in the ad not to take a penny in salary or compensation, they made a bunch of fake vendor invoices and paid themselves. I smell prison time. 3. 28 attorneys generals are going after, I'm sorry, GoFundMe, because they want better disclosure policies and greater clarity in terms of services for consumers who use the platform. Interestingly, and I'm reading between the lines here, But it seems it's the more conservative states behind this one because they were angered at GoFundMe's decision not to help fundraise for the Freedom Convoy in Canada. Finally, the kicker. A former eBay executive pled guilty after stalking a woman who was writing a newsletter about eBay. Apparently, they threatened her with the most intense cyberbullying I've ever imagined possible between grown adults. Truly. For example, they ordered anonymous deliveries to her house, including a book on surviving the death of a spouse, a bloody pig mask, an actual fetal pig, a funeral wreath, and live insects. Nope, that is horrifying, and that's not even the whole story. This one will definitely be on Netflix in a few years' time. Okay, I have to speed up here. But our innovation feed this week includes proposed financing rules announcements on things like drones, deep fakes, even agricultural innovation projects that are super interesting. Also, the White House released a historical amount of oil reserves, U.S. oil reserves, for the sale to alleviate the burden from the scarcity of Russian oil on the market, and it was, of course, oversubscribed. Also, for those of you following privacy, you really better be following the new global CBPR forum because it intends to establish the global cross-border privacy rules for the entire world and build the first ever data privacy certifications that help companies demonstrate compliance with global data privacy standards. And finally, the day after 420, New Jersey started selling recreational cannabis. I was out of town, so I did not partake, but I heard the lines were long in a few dispensaries, but otherwise the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission only had to investigate minor complaints. That's it this week for Regalytics. We have the most comprehensive, coherent, and customizable regulatory alerts tool in the world. Come and see how company after company is transforming their compliance with this kind of transparency. See you next Wednesday.